Hey, leaning in from down here, I'm getting ready to use I decided to use the glaze. This is the Junk Monkey Brown glaze. And earlier, you know, I used the Junk Monkey banana peel to put a coat on here to protect the glaze or wax, whatever I was going to use. I decided to use the glaze on this piece to keep it from going too far in. So what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to find a way to get this to where you can see it a little bit. I'm using my new, I don't have my ring light up here, and I'm trying to use, there we go, my new stand with just a regular lamp. And I've shook this up a little bit, and I'm going to start out with just a small paintbrush and just go around the details so that I can leave that on a little longer so that it will hopefully stick in a little more in the details, and then I'll wipe it all over. That's because I want it to be a little bit darker in these details than it is on the rest of the vase. And if this doesn't give me quite as much detail as I'm looking for, I can still come back over a glaze with a brown wax. It's a little bit of detail up here at the top. And a seam here on the handle. It is hot up here. My air conditioner just kicked off. It's 78 degrees. It's set on 70. This is a brand new unit I just had installed a couple of months ago, and this is the second time already I've had trouble with it, and I'm really regretting it right this minute. You know, you hate when you spend thousands of dollars on something. It's not even that hot of a day outside. It feels like it's hotter in here than it is outside. So I'm gonna have to call the people who installed it again and see if they'll come out this time. We weren't having this much trouble with the old unit that had been in here for 15 years as this brand new unit. Okay, I think I've got most of the major details done with this little brush. And what I have now is the French round. And I don't know if I'm supposed to wet my brush. I'm going to go ahead and wet it just a tad, because these Paint Pixie brushes, they're a natural bristle brush and they absorb so much, and I'm wanting this to be a little bit thin. Now I'm just going to go all over. The little bit of the banana peel that I put on it to begin with was to prevent this glaze from sinking into this clay-based paint too quickly, so that I will hopefully be able to wipe a good bit of it off. Man, I dread telling my husband about the air conditioner, because we were just in there recently and there were a whole lot of issues where the installation wasn't done as properly as it should have, and it's we already need to work on it. Don't you just hate when stuff like that happens? Okay, it's all over that. I'm going to go ahead and put it all over the little lid. It's kicking back on. These new units, this one is in our attic and very, very difficult to get to. But these, according to the people that installed mine, these new units have a trip kind of a thing inside them that goes off whenever it fills up with water to prevent water from getting all on your floor. Water's all over our floor anyways up there because they didn't insulate the pipes. But anyway, apparently the new units are made to do that, and the same thing is happening at my daughter's house where they're just getting tripped constantly. Well, that sounds like a manufacturer's defect to me. Okay. And I believe it's Frigidaire, so if anybody's listening and cares, don't let somebody install a Frigidaire unit for you in your attic to where you can't get to it all day, every day. There it went back off again. It's 79 degrees in here now. Oh, I love it whenever the deep color stays in the crevices. This is not getting in the, there it is back on, in the details as much as I would like it to. So I may have to do another coat. But you can take your finger, I don't know if you can see that, and you can rub harder and rub longer to get more of the glaze off. I'm not sure if you can wet this cloth to get more off. I'm going to try that in just a minute because I do wish it was a little bit lighter in some areas. Right now I just want to get the majority of it off. Go ahead and get it off of the lid too. So it did darken it up somewhat, and it stayed, and this is probably to do with my wiping pattern too. It did stay a little more on some areas than others, but I do wish the details would show up just a little bit more than that. So like I said, I may go back over it with a dark wax. Let me get a little bit of this water on my rag so that I can get some of the areas that I really wanted to be whiter, a lot whiter. Well, there you go. See that? That is, I used the Dixie Belle Slick Stick on there because of the glaze, and it was not supposed to pull off down to the glaze. I even did a scratch test and it did. So I probably would have needed to have sanded this glaze because it was so highly glazed a little bit even before I added the slick stick, because this had the slick stick, which I tried the scratch test and none scratched off, and then 2 coats of paint, and then 1 coat of top coat, and then the glaze. But it is still wiping off some, which will probably still look good in my instance, but if that was not how I wanted it to look, that would have been pretty disappointing. But I think me dampening this cloth and going back over some of the lighter areas with that is going to give me the look I was going for here anyways. And then I'll just have to touch up that small area. But we all learn as we go, so I'm hoping that somebody else who may come to a project similar to this will remember to go ahead, and even though you have the slick stick, it's smart to go ahead and rough up that glaze if it's very shiny like mine was, go ahead and rough it up just a tad with some sandpaper before you put on the slick stick. Yep, that's coming off pretty good. Get a little bit more water. Oh yeah, that's going to look very nice. Right back to the banana peel, but yet the indentations and things, the parts that gave this piece its character are still going to have the glaze down in them. I also brought up a little bit of this warm gold gilding wax, and I'm going to try a little bit of that on there too, so everything is happening how it should. I like that a lot. Liking it a lot. Okay, can you see that? That turned out pretty dang good, didn't it? I'm going to put a little bit of that gold on my fingers and rub over these hot areas. Let's try it on the lid first, because I may or may not even use this lid for anything. I was just doing it in case I ever end up selling this at a garage sale. It would have the lid in case the next person wants it. I want it to look very kind of rustic and slapped on there, so I'm just slapping it on there. There you go. Can you see that? It's actually pretty cool, huh? Maybe I'll put a little bit around just here and there. Boom, done. Done. And then I'm going to go over just the very raised areas here. Not all of them. I'm not wanting the whole thing to be gilded. Just here and there, maybe the light will catch just a tad of gold. The details on this are very nice, and they really were kind of lost in the old finish. You couldn't see as much of it, but that's, you know, that's the design that it was. Sometimes it's just in the little details that really make the difference in the long run. So just taking a minute to add a gold that you really can't even see, and nobody will probably ever notice, will be the little detail that gives it the finishing touch that I'm not going to put any in this main body. There's always a little bit of a, you know, a learning curve with everything. So always, you know, practice on something that's less important to you and get a feel for what you like. I mean, this may have ended up being a look that I totally loved and could use again and again on other pieces, or there may just be parts of it. Like I know I loved the Junk Monkey glaze, so that worked out very well. Hey Teresa, that worked out very well. I know that I need to steel sand a little bit if there's a heavy glaze, even when using the Dixie Belle slick stick. So I learned that lesson. The banana peel matte finish is perfect. It did everything I wanted it to do and more. Extremely thrilled with that. And I love how, can you see how the deep color, it's still not dry, but up in those crevices, that's going to look so nice and aged when it's done. I think that's it. I think that's how it's supposed to look. I'm going to touch this piece up. Another option that I could do would be glue on another embellishment, but I'm not going to do that. I could put a bow right there and hide it. That's what a lot of times as a florist would happen. But I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to sand it a little bit. I'm going to put some more Dixie Belle Slick Stick on it. And, well, you know what? I'm lying. Look what I got right here. I got more paint. I'm just going to put more paint over it and see what happens. Of course, this will have to dry, and then I'll have to put more of the banana peel on it. But I think I can touch up from here. Let me get it out of the lid. That's good and thick. I'm just going to dab it on here. And with this being such a varied surface anyways, dabbing that on there like that is not even going to show. So there you go. Boom, done, fixed. I'll take this rag, and when that dries, maybe in a half hour or so, and it's still going to be damp because I put a tad of water on there, dab, dab, dab over that, so that, you know, it won't be completely crinoline. It'll have some of the other colors on it. And let's see if I can, well, there it is up close. It would be hard to even find up close, but there you go. I think it turned out pretty dang cool. So I'll let y'all see it once. I'm going to pull this off. Once, hey, I'll let y'all see it once the flowers are in it too. I'm going to see if I can turn the camera around and better angle, maybe a picture of it this way. It's so dark in here. I have an overhead light on. But, there's still some shadow on it. Let me see if I can move this. Get it right there under the light. Come in from this angle. I think it looks old and aged and all of the things that I wanted it to look. Just a little bit of gilding here and there. I think once the cottage roses and things are in it, it's going to be exactly what the room needs and match the dresser and stuff. I will be putting my first couple of coats of paint, the crinoline, on the dresser today. I may or may not come back live with that. If anybody wants me to come live with that, go ahead and just say, hey, we want to see the paint go on the dresser, and I'll definitely hook us all up. If not, I'll bring it back to you at, during another time in the process, maybe the top coat or the wax or something like that. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you send me a picture of a project that you're working on. Bye.